Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about heat and temperature. Okay, heat and temperature. Now, as you know, this is common experience that suppose we put hand on a lump of ice, we feel coolness, and we put our hand on a boiling water or hot water, we feel the hotness. Suppose if we take a bowl of water in a bowl and keep it on a burner of gas stove and light the burner, then the water, ordinary water, becomes lukewarm and becomes hot and becomes boiled. That means the state of water changes to first to lukewarm, then hot, then it boils. That means something has transferred or traveled to burner, from burner to this water. That's something we call as heat. So that's something we call it as heat. Now to know about heat, the ancient days scientists proposed a theory that heat is in the form of a fluid. Fluid means which has the property of flow. Generally we call liquids and gases as fluids which has the property of flowing. So in the olden days, scientists assumed that this heat is also a form of fluid which is supposed to be massless, invisible. So, and they named that fluid as calorific fluid. They named it as calorific fluid. That means this calorific fluid is massless, invisible, which flows from hot body to cold body when they are kept in contact. That means when we keep a hot body and a cold body in contact, heat flows from hot body to cold body. Just like fluid. Flowing means heat is flowing from hot body to cold body, means it has the property of flowing. So that's why they named it as calorific fluid, which flows from hot body to cold body when they are kept in contact. Now later in the modern days, this particular calorific fluid theory was discarded by scientists Rumford, Davy and James Joule. So they experimentally proved that heat is the form of energy. So heat is also the form of energy. How they mean this? Davy, as we know, in winter we rub our hands to get heat, to feel the warmness, to just rub the hands. So in the similar way, Rumford made number of experiments and concluded that heat is generated by friction. Heat is generated by friction. And Davy performed an experiment that he rubbed two ice blocks in vacuum. That means there is no hot body there, even though the ice starts melting. That means heat is generated by friction. So based on all this, and Joule also experimentally proved that amount of heat generated is proportional to the amount of mechanical work done. That means when we rub, firstly more heat is generated. That means heat is generated due to friction, and heat generated is proportional to mechanical work done. And based on this theory, now heat is considered to be the form of energy. That means just like other forms of energy. So now the modern theory is heat is a form of energy. And from kinetic theory standpoint, that according to kinetic theory, all the matter consists of molecules, Based, based on it, we divide them into, based on the arrangement of the molecules, matter are the three different types: solids, liquids, gases. So, okay. And from that kinetic theory point of view, this heat is the molecular energy of the body. That means the amount of heat contained in a body is the energy possessed by its molecules. So, rather we can say that heat is the internal energy of the body. Okay, that means the amount of heat that contained in a body is the amount of internal energy, or the amount of energy of the molecules of that particular body. Because as we know, in the case of gases, the gases are in a suppose assume that gas is enclosed in a cylinder. So within this cylinder, these gas molecules are free to move within this cylinder, boundaries of this cylinder. So while moving, they possess, all the moving bodies possess kinetic energy. So the internal energy or the heat possessed by a gaseous system is its molecular kinetic energy. Similarly, in the case of liquids also, liquid molecules are also able to move within the boundaries of the liquid, but cannot escape from the surface of the liquid. But they are not as free as gas molecules, but they can move within the boundaries of, within the limits of boundaries of that particular container. So that is liquids and gases. In the case of liquids and gases, the heat possessed by a liquid, these possessed by a gas, is its molecular kinetic energy. Whereas in the case of solids, they possess both molecular kinetic energy and potential energy. That means the molecular energy of solid molecules is both its vibrational, because solid molecules are arranged in a regular manner. In solids, atoms are very close and arranged in a regular manner. That's why these molecules vibrate about their mean positions. They vibrate about their mean positions so that they possess vibrational kinetic energy, and due to their positions between them, due to their positions in the array, they possess potential energy. So in case of solid molecules, the internal energy of the solid molecule is its kinetic energy or vibrational kinetic energy and its potential energy. So this is the main theory of heat. So heat is the form of energy, and the heat contained in a body or heat possessed by a body is its molecular energy. Now, what is temperature? What is temperature is, temperature measures the degree of hotness or coldness. Suppose if we put hand on ice, we feel it cold, we say it is cold. If we put our hand in a hot water, we say it is hot. That means we are saying the degree of hot or degree of coldness is denoted by temperature. If the temperature is merely a number, that represents the degree of hotness or coldness. If the number is large, means it is hot. If the number is low, very small value, means it is cool. Okay. Now, the difference between temperature and heat. What is the difference between heat and temperature is, heat is the amount of energy that contained by the system, whereas temperature is the degree of hotness which determines degree of hotness of the body. Okay. So, heat is the cause, temperature is its effect. You have to remember like that. So heat is the cause. That means if we give heat to a body, then its temperature changes. Suppose if heat is given or taken from a body, as a result temperature changes. That means here the cause is giving or taking heat, and its effect is change in its temperature. So what we can say is, heat is the cause, temperature is its effect. Okay. Not only that, suppose if two bodies are kept in contact like this, the hot body H, cold body C. When two bodies at different temperatures are kept in contact, then we can say that heat flows from hot body to cold body, so that the hot body temperature decreases and cold body temperature increases. As we know, okay? When two bodies, a hot body and cold body, kept in contact, heat flows from a hot body to cold body. As a result, the temperature of this hot body decreases and the temperature of this cold body increases until both of them possess same temperature. And this flow continues until both the bodies possess same temperature. That means its temperature decreases, its temperature increases. After certain time, both of them will possess same temperature. And this, until they possess same temperature, this heat flow continues from hot body to cold body. So in this point of view, what we can say temperature is the quantity which determines the direction of flow of heat when two bodies are kept in contact. Okay, that means here we can say that heat is flowing from hot body to cold body, means the temperature of this hot body is decreasing and that of this cold body is increasing. That means here we can determine the direction of heat flow, that is from hot body to cold body. So temperature in another terms defined as is the physical quantity which determines the direction of flow of heat or direction of heat flow when two bodies are kept in contact. Okay, so in that way we can define temperature. So temperature is the degree of hotness or is the quantity which determines the direction of heat flow when two bodies are kept in contact. Okay, now you have to remember some points regarding heat and temperature. Some 2 points regarding this heat and temperature. The first one is two bodies possess same temperature but different amounts of heat. It is possible that two bodies may possess same temperature but different amounts of heat. So I will give one example. Suppose if you take a beaker full of water or kettle full of water, hot water. Now if you take a cup of water, now if you take from a kettle or a bowl full of hot water, if we take some cup of hot water from this one, then the amount of possessed in is large, the amount of heat possessed in this cup of water is small. That means they possess different amounts of heat, but both of them possess same temperature. Okay, that means it is possible that two bodies may possess different amounts of heat but possess same temperature. You have to remember this point. Okay, that means two bodies may possess same temperature but the amount of heat that contained in the body may differ, as this is the example. Okay, next one, whether the body is suppose if two bodies, the amounts of heat is differ, suppose if you consider two bodies, that means the two bodies may contain different amounts of heat. Two bodies having different amounts of heat. That means one of the body may be at high temperature, other body may be at low temperature. That's the same, because both are at different temperature, different amounts of heat means their temperature. Even though if the temperature of one body is high and another body is low, even though if this higher temperature body possesses less amount of heat, but heat flows from this hot body to cold body. Okay, that means whether there may be different amounts of heat energy in the two bodies, but heat always flows from a body having high temperature to low temperature. I will give an example with the comparison. Just like water. Now consider two long pipes like this. Assume that two long pipes A and B connected by another pipe. Now this pipe has a stopper. Assume that this is the stopper S. That means which separates this part and this part, such that the cross-sectional area of this B is large compared to A. Okay, consider two long pipes of different cross-sectional areas connected through a horizontal pipe with a stopper. Now, if we pour equal amount of water, that means same amount of water in this pipe and in this pipe. So we get this, the level in this column is high and in this column will be low. If same amount of water is taken in this pipe and in this pipe, the levels in the water may be different because the level in this pipe is high compared to the water level in this pipe B. Okay, now that means the amount of water in this part is same as amount of water in this part. Okay, because we are taking same amount of water, means amount of water is same in these two parts A and B. Now add some water in this B, some water like this, such that the level in this B remains lower than that of A. That means even though if we add a small amount of water in B, so that this level rises, but which will be less than this particular level. Now we can say the amount of water in this part is more compared to this one, because we added some more water in this one. That means water in these two, what amount of water in these two pipes is different. This in this is more and this is in this is less, even though the level of water in this pipe is high compared to this one. Suppose if we open this stopper, what happens? Water always flows from higher level to lower level. So water passes from this part to this part, so that the level of water in this pipe slowly rises and the level of water in this pipe slowly falls. After a certain time, the level in both remains same. That means what happened here, even though this is in this part amount of water is more, but its level is lower than that of this one. So due to that, this level of water in this slowly falls, level of water in this slowly rises. This is the difference between this we can analyze to the heat and temperature. Even though the heat is same, heat in the amount of heat in the different parts is maybe high, but the temperature of this one is more, means heat always flows from this body to this body. I think you understand. That means if two bodies may contain amount of heat may be different, but heat always flows from a body of high temperature to low temperature. This we can analyze with water. Now another one is, same amount of heat is given to a body, the rise in temperatures, same amount of heat is given to two different bodies, the rise in temperature may be different. Understand? If we give same amount of heat to two different bodies, the rise in those particular two bodies is different. So that way I will give one example like this. Suppose if we add a cup of water Suppose if we add a cup of hot water to a bucket full of water, then the rise in temperature will be small. But when we add this cup of hot water to another cup of water, then the rise in temperature of this water may be more. That means even though we are giving same amount of heat to these two bodies, but the rise in temperature in this case is small, rise in temperature in this case is large. That means even though if we give same amount of heat to two different bodies, the rise in temperature may be different. So these are the differences between heat and temperature. Now, so we have a clear idea about heat and temperature. Heat is the energy possessed by internal energy possessed by the body, and temperature is the degree of hotness or which determines the direction of heat flow. So that is the differences between heat and temperature. Another difference one we have to remember is whether the body of two different amounts contain two different amounts of heat. Heat always flows from body of high temperature to low temperature. Okay. Now, what are the effects of heating a body? Now we'll discuss what are the effects of heating a body. Okay. The first one is due to heating. Due to heating, the first effect we get is rise in temperature. That means first effect is change in temperature. That means if we supply heat to a body, its temperature increases. If we remove heat from a body, its temperature decreases. The cooling a body means we are removing heat from that body. Heating a body means we are giving heat to the body. You have to remember this. So when we are giving heat to a body, we say it is heating. As a result, there is an increase in temperature. When we cool a body, that means we are removing heat from a body, its temperature decreases. So the effect of heating is its change in temperature. That means either we supply heat or we remove heat. Correspondingly, there is an increase in temperature or decrease in a temperature. So the first effect is change in temperature. And this change in temperature occurs when there is no change in its state. Suppose if we are giving heat to a body, solid body, until it remains in the solid state, its temperature increases. Suppose if we give heat to a liquid, the temperature rises only if there is no change in its liquid state. Okay? So change in temperature, we have to state that without change in state. Change in temperature without change in state. That means until there is no change in its state. That means if you take a solid, it remains in the solid state. If you take a liquid, it remains in liquid state. That change in temperature takes place. And second case, second change but effect is change in state without change in temperature. That means if the heat supplied to the body changes the state of the body, that means if that particular amount of heat changes a body from solid state to liquid state or liquid state to gaseous state, whenever there is a change in state takes place, there will be no change in its temperature. Okay, understand? When there is a change in state, there is no change in temperature of the body. I will give an example like this. Suppose we know that at 0 degrees centigrade, ice melts. If we give heat at 0 degrees centigrade, to ice, then the amount of heat that this ice absorbs takes that heat, which is totally converted into, which is utilized totally in converting the ice into water. That means when we heat an ice at 0 degree centigrade, we supply heat to an ice block. The total amount of heat is utilized in converting that ice into water, but its temperature remains at 0 degree centigrade only. So when at 0 degree centigrade, when we supply heat to ice, it is utilized in melting ice. That means it changes from solid to liquid state. When the total amount of ice melts, that means due to the heat supplied, assume that this 10 gram of ice, assume a 10 gram of ice, heat is given to 10 gram of ice suppose. Then this 10 gram of ice becomes 10 gram of water until this 10 gram of water, that means until the 10 gram of ice melts and converts into 10 gram of water, the temperature remains constant. That means when the change of state takes place, temperature remains constant. Similarly, that means when 10 gram of ice at 0 degree centigrade changes to 10 gram of water at 0 degree centigrade. That is, we have to understand. That means whenever there is a change of state, temperature remains constant. When once all the amount of ice melts into water, further supply of heat rises the temperature of this water. Okay? From 0 degree, when all the ice melts, all the amount of ice, total ice melts into water, then the temperature rises. Now the temperature now rises from 0 to 100 degrees centigrade, and it's, while increasing 0 to 100, it remains in water state or liquid. It remains as water. That means its state remains same. Temperature increases. Temperature remains constant when there is a change of state. You have to remember these 2 points. When there is a change in temperature means there is no change of the state of the body. But when there is a change in state of the body, at that particular state, temperature of the body remains constant. And the third one is increase in dimensions. Increasing dimensions means heating a body, the body expands. Body expands. That means its length increases. As a result, its area increases and volume increases. So, increase in dimensions like length, area and volume. That means heating a body, its volume changes, its area changes, its length changes. That means if you take a thin wires, in that case length changes. If you take a plates or sheets, in those cases area increases. In a bulk bodies, what we can say is volume increases. But in case of liquids and gases, there is only change in volume. This volume increases. Okay. So third one is increase in the dimensions like length, area, volume. Now fourth one, change in physical properties. Change in physical properties. Changes the physical properties means, I will give one example like this. Suppose if you take a rod of iron or a block of iron, it appears to be hard. At ordinary temperature, it appears to be hard and appears to be in a brown or black color. We can observe that. But when it is heated to very high temperatures, what happens? It appears to be red in color and becomes soft. So that, to make anything with iron, what we have to, we have to mold iron into our required shapes. What we can do is we heat the iron and mold in our required shapes. So that is a physical change occurred in iron. That means heat changes the physical properties of the body. Similarly, in the case of red, ordinary temperature it appears to be black in color, but when we heat it to very high temperature, it appears to be in red in color. Similarly, you can say, if another example, take electrical properties of bodies. We know electrically materials are conductors and insulators and semiconductors. So electrically materials are of three types: conductors, semiconductors and insulators. So conductors are the materials which allow the electric flow to pass through it, where insulators restrict the electric current, whereas semiconductors, the properties are in between that of the conductors and insulators. But when this conductor is heated, its conductivity decreases and resistance increases. That means, suppose if a particular material is conductor at ordinary temperature, when it is heated to high temperature, it may become insulator. But in case of semiconductor insulators, when we heat semiconductor and insulators, their conductivity increases, resistance decreases. So, in case of conductors, resistance increases, and in case of conductors and insulators, resistance decreases with increase in temperature. That means, on heating a conductor, it becomes, its conductivity decreases. On heating a semiconductor or insulator, its conductivity increases. That means, heating changes the electrical properties of the body. Similarly, if we heat a strong magnet, it loses its magnetic property. If we heat a ferromagnetic material, a strong ferromagnetic material, its magnetic property, that means it loses its magnetism. Okay, that means heating a body changes its physical properties. Just like I have already explained the example of iron rod. Electrical properties changes, magnetical properties changes. These are the changes that are due to the effect of heating a body. Okay, that is fourth one is change in physical properties, and the fifth one is change in chemical properties. Change in chemical properties means some elements or some material may not react at ordinary temperatures, but the same materials at a high temperature, they may react. Some materials may not react at ordinary temperatures, react at high temperatures. That means the chemical reactivity or chemical reactivity between two materials can be increased by heating. So heating changes the chemical properties of the body. And next one is thermoelectric effect, thermocouple. What is thermoelectric effect or thermocouple? Thermocouple is a two wires having two junctions. Suppose copper, iron, assume that this two one. A copper wire and a the iron wire, both are welded at two ends like this. This is a copper wire and this is iron wire, and a iron wire is connected with a galvanometer G like this. And this combination is called thermocouple. That means two dissimilar metals joined together at two junctions to form two junctions Means they are welding, either by welding or by joining. We can form two junctions connected with a galvanometer. If a temperature difference is maintained between these two junctions, suppose if we keep this in a hot water and this in a ice, that means this junction in a hot water or very high temperature, and this is subjected to very low temperature by keeping it in a ice. That means a temperature difference is maintained between these two junctions. An electric EMF is induced between these two junctions, and that is called thermo EMF, which is indicated by the deflection in this galvanometer. That means a thermocouple is formed by two dissimilar metals joining or forming two junctions. If temperature difference is maintained at these two junctions, an electric EMF is induced in this thermocouple, and that is called thermoelectric effect or thermo, and this EMF induced is called thermo EMF. That means this is the conversion of heat energy into electrical energy. So these are the main effects of heating a body. These are the main effects of heating a body. First one is change in temperature without change in state. Without change in temperature, change in state without change in temperature. Third one, increase in dimensions like length, area and volume. Changes its physical properties, changes the chemical properties, and converts into electric. That means temperature. That means here thermocouple or thermoelectric effect. That means conversion takes place from electrical energy to, thermal energy into electrical energy. So these are the effects of heating a body. Okay? Change in temperature, change in state, increase in dimensions, change in physical properties, change in chemical properties, and thermoelectric effect. Okay.